Hi everyone, here is your science teacher, Mrs. Siham Said, speaks from the Egyptian Language School in Doha, Qatar. From the science section, we introduce a new lesson in Unit 2, Lesson 2, which discusses the lenses. Welcome all my dear students of third prep, and let me take you to dive in the fascinating world of the optics and the optical pieces. And today we discuss the lenses. The lenses, I mean the transparent optical pieces which can refract the light. And you know that the light refraction is a change in the direction of light when light passes through the surface between two transparent media, and the diffraction phenomena takes place due to the change in light speed. So, our session today discusses the lenses, which is the second lesson in Unit 2. The Unit 2, Lesson 2, and as you know, the title for Lesson 2 is Lenses. My dear students, in the fascinating world of optics, we study the lenses and mirrors, and today we come to the types of lenses. The first type of lenses we study in this lesson is called the convex lens. The convex lens, as you see in this figure, is characterized by a thick surface at the middle. It's thick at the middle here or at the center. The convex lens is thick, and here it's thin. Thin at the two taps. These are called the two taps of the lens. And here we have thick lens. Okay, so the first type of lenses is the convex lens. The convex lens, at which we can find a thick part at the middle and thin part at the two taps. And we come to another type of lenses, which is called the concave lenses. A concave lens is a lens at which we have thin surface at the middle and thick taps. This is the upper tab and the lower tab. These are the two tabs of the lens. At the two tabs, we observe that the thickness increases, or the thickness increases at the two tabs and it decreases at the middle or at the center of the concave lens. So, to define the concave lens, it is a transparent optical piece. And please don't forget that the word optical is a concept related to light and vision, like the mirrors, like the lenses. These pieces are called from the optical pieces. And from the optical pieces, we have the concave lens. As I said, it's thin at the middle, thick at the two tips. My dear students, we start the first concept related to the lenses. And before we explain the concept, let me remind you that in this figure, I have two spherical shapes, one sphere and another one sphere. Each one of them has a center. Here I have a center, and for the other spherical shape, I have another center, and the area between them looks like a convex lens. Don't forget that a convex lens is thick at the middle, thin at the two tips. This kind of lenses, this kind of lenses is called as convex lens. On the other side, I have another spherical shape and another spherical shape, two spherical shapes, and the area between them, here the area between them looks like one of the lenses that we have studied. This lens is a concave lens. You see, here I have something like a concave lens. This is a concave lens. I'm going to color it to clarify it more, okay? Let me take the green color to be more clear. This kind of lenses, which is thin at the middle, thick at the two tabs, is called a concave lens, okay? As I mentioned before, any lens, the convex lens and the concave lens are surrounded by two spherical faces, and each one of the two faces has a center. So any lens has two centers of curvature, unlike the spherical mirrors. A spherical mirror has one center of curvature because it's a part of a spherical shape. It is a part of a hollow sphere. It is a part of only one hollow sphere, so it has one center of curvature. Unlike the lens that we study today, the lens is surrounded by two spherical faces. Each one of them has a center. On the other side, I have another spherical face, and here we have another center. So a lens is characterized by two centers of curvature. And the center of curvature is the first concept we study in our lesson today. The concept, or the first concept that we study in our lesson today, is the center of curvature. The center of curvature, which is the center of the sphere, which the face is a part of it. And please don't forget that any lens has two spherical faces. And of course, here I have a convex lens. This is a convex lens, as you see. On the other side, the area or the common, something like a common area between two other spherical shapes. Here, I can have another type of lenses. The kind of lens here is a concave lens. Concave lens, okay? Why? Because it's thin at the middle, and thick at the two tips. This is for the difference between the two types of lenses. And the lens, as a conclusion, what we conclude from here, a lens has two centers of curvature, and this is a very important question. Why? Because it is surrounded by two spherical faces. Dear students, let me take you to another concept in our lesson. Which kind of lenses you see in this figure? I can hear your answers. The lens here is thin at the middle, thick at the two tabs, so it's a concave lens. As you know, any lens is surrounded by two spherical faces, one spherical face and another spherical face. Each one of them is a part of a sphere. The radius of this sphere, I mean this line, is called the radius, and for sure it takes letter R. How many centers of curvature in each lens? As we know, it is surrounded by two spherical faces. عندها two spherical faces يعني عندها two centers of curvature. Today we have a new concept. The concept that we discuss now is the principal axis. What is meant by the principal axis? As you see, I have a straight line. This straight line joins the three main points, one center of curvature, another center of curvature, and a point here. We call it as the optical center. And by the way, it takes letter B. The straight line which joins the two centers of curvature, one center and one center, and the optical center. This straight line is named as the principal axis. Let me repeat this concept. Here I have a straight line. This straight line joins the center of curvature and the center of curvature. I mean the two centers of curvature of the lens and the radius. We call it as a principal axis. And for sure you know that any lens has only one principal axis. Again, please, attention. We discuss a new concept called the principal axis of the lens. Principal axis is a straight line. This straight line joins the two centers of curvature and the point which is called the optical center. So, the optical center of the lens, it is a point inside the lens. I mean this point inside the lens, and this point lies on the principal axis. We can find it on the principal axis, my dear students, where the optical center of a lens is a point at the middle. As you see, it's a point at the middle here. This point in the middle is called the optical center. As I mentioned, it takes letter P. This is the optical center, which locates at the middle of the lens. So to define the optical center, it is a point inside the lens, lies on the principal axis at the mid-distance between the two spherical faces of the lens. Now we come to a new concept. My dear students, you see a lens in the figure. This lens is thin at the middle, thick at the tip. So which kind of lens is this one? I can hear your right answers. It's a concave lens. And as we know, this is a straight line, and this straight line joins two centers. And the optical center, اللاين ده بيمر بالتو centers of curvature والoptical center. عشان كده we call it as the principal axis. So, as you know, it is surrounded by, for any lens is surrounded by two spherical faces. Here I have a spherical face, one spherical face. This spherical face has a center of curvature, and this is called the radius. So the radius of the lens, the radius of the sphere at which the lens takes part of it, or it is the diameter or half diameter. For the radius we say half diameter. The radius is half diameter of the sphere, which this face is a part of it. Here we have the center of curvature, and here's a spherical face, and we have the radius, which is half diameter, and for sure it takes letter R. My dear students, back to the principal axis, which is a straight line, joins the two centers of curvature and point at the middle of the lens called the optical center. So this is a straight line, joins the two centers of curvature and the pole of the lens. This is called the principal axis, and we have explained it before. My dear students, attention please. A new concept will be studied now for the lenses. Which kind of lenses is this one? Here I can see a lens which is thick at the middle, thick at the middle, thick at the middle. Let me show you where the high thickness here, thick at the middle, thin at the two tabs. We call it as a convex lens. This kind of lenses is a convex lens, okay? How many axes, how many principal axes on the convex lens? As you know, it has one center of curvature, and on the other side, on the other spherical face, we have another center of curvature. So it has two centers of curvature. I'm looking for the eraser. Okay. It has two centers of curvature, one center and one center. And the point at the middle here, we call it as the optical center. And as you know, it takes letter P. The point here, and by the way, don't forget that it's unreal. This point is unreal or imaginary. It's an unreal point or imaginary point. Okay? Let me clarify it more. This straight line passes through or joins. This straight line joins or passes through the two centers of curvature and the optical center. And any any lens has two centers, only two centers, and only one optical center. This is the optical center, so it has only one principal axis. It has only one principal axis, and this is a very important note in our lesson. Do you remember the spherical mirrors? Concave mirrors and convex mirrors also have only one principal axis. Each of them has only one principal axis. Take you to another concept related to the lenses. And before I take you to the other concept related to the lenses, who can remind me what is the type of this lens? As you see, this lens is thick at the middle, thick at the middle, thick here at the middle, and thin at the tip, or thin at the two tips. So it is classified as a convex lens. On the other side, I have another lens. Okay, this lens is thin at the middle. It's thin here, thin at the middle, thick at the two tips. So which kind of lens is that lens? That lens is classified as a concave lens. Okay, and the point, which is an imaginary point at the middle of the lens. البوينت الإيماجينري دي هنا أخدناها من شوية صغيرين كده وقلنا إن اسمها optical center وإنها takes letter P. Here I can see one optical center in each one of the two lenses. And I see some straight lines. This is a straight line, passes with the optical center, another straight line passes, and a third one. أنا هعمل واحد جديد. كل دول اسمهم secondary axes. The same for the other lens here, which is a concave or convex. It's thick at the middle. بما إنها thick at the middle يبقى دي convex lens. برافو عليكم شاطرين جدا. يبقى أنا عندي the second type or the other type of lenses here is that lens, and that lens is thick at the middle, thin at the two tips, so we call it as a convex lens. Convex lens. And this is the optical center, which takes letter B. Okay. In a straight line, passes with the optical center is called any straight line that passes with the optical center of the lens is called the secondary axis. And by the way, any straight line except the principal axis. The principal axis is excluded. The principal axis includes the two centers and the optical. But here, as you see, these straight lines don't pass through the two centers of curvature. عشان كده أنا بسميهم secondary axes. I call them as secondary axes. Secondary axes, unlike the principal axis. Okay, so any straight line that passes through the optical center of the convex lens or even the concave lens is called secondary axis. And this is a new concept in our lesson. My dear students, it's time to say thank you for watching the video and see you later next Wednesday within the school sessions at the classroom. And for any questions, you can send them to the inbox of your team's account. For your homework, I'll send it to you in a separate worksheet on the team's account also, and it will be corrected by the next session on Wednesday. Thank you so much for watching the video and see you later in the next session in our classroom.